Hey guys, Sheephead here with another video from Final Fantasy XIV, and today we're going to be looking at the boss tactic for the new primal Extreme Mode Leviathan. So before we start, I should probably mention that you need to unlock this via the story quest introduced in patch 2.2, and once you've done that, you need to also complete the hard mode version of the fight. Okay, so let's move on to Extreme Mode Leviathan. So the first phase of the fight is just usual tank and spank from 100% until 90%. After this, the boss will disappear and you'll have to deal with the first new boss mechanic that is called Body Slam. So as you can see, a few seconds after the boss disappears, you will see and hear a pillar of water at one side of the platform. After a small delay, the boss will shoot up from this location and it's going to body slam onto the arena. Now if you get hit by this, it's going to do about 2k damage, but at the same time it's also going to tilt the platform, causing everyone to slide in that direction of the slam. So this mechanic is going to happen from now over and over throughout the fight until the boss is dead, and it's extremely important that you see this mechanic as soon as possible and react quickly. In my opinion, the first thing that you're going to want to do is turn up your in-game sound effects as much as possible. As you can see, when the boss shoots out of the water, you will hear this sound effect. At this point you want to spin your camera 360 degrees, work out where the pillar is and start running to the other end of the platform. Now at the start of the fight it kind of doesn't matter too much if you see it late, as you will just slide down the platform into the railings. However, at about 50% the boss is going to do an ultimate move that will remove all of the railings from the fight, meaning that you can now slide down the platform and die into the water. So the body slam is one of the two main mechanics of the fight, and it's simply just something that you're going to have to get used to. As you can see, we've marked the corners of the platform and we call out on TeamSpeak when someone sees the pillar of water. Phase 2 of the fight will start when the boss reappears. However, this time you will notice that you'll be fighting his head and his tail. So as you can see, the head and the tail will always be across from each other on the platform. The head and the tail will also share the HP pool of the boss, and each part will have its own debuff that limits the type of damage that can be done to said part. The body, or the head of Leviathan, will have a buff that will reflect any physical range damage done to it, and the tail will have a similar debuff that will reflect any ranged magical damage. It's for this reason that you will need to split up your DPS accordingly, putting your magical damage on the head or the body, and then also putting your bards on the tail. So now that the boss is split up into two parts, the head and the tail, you're introduced to a new mechanic in the extreme mode that is pretty unique and interesting. As you can see, we have one tank on the body and one on the tail. The reason for this is that the tail will place a debuff called Briny Mirror on the tank who has threat on it. Now this debuff itself actually doesn't do anything, however it does apply another stacking debuff, which is called Briny Veil, to the healer who heals the tank with the debuff. The debuff, Briny Veil, will reduce the range of the healer's spells, and will also gain another stack to the healer every single time they heal the tank inflicted with the Briny Mirror. If you manage to heal too much and get up to 16 stacks of Briny Veil, you will no longer be able to heal. So the way that you deal with this debuff is to simply have the healers switch which tanks they are healing once they reach about 8 stacks. This will give one healer time to drop their stacks while the other healer can continue to heal the off tank. This mechanic will happen from this phase until the end of the fight. So while we're focusing on the healers, I should probably mention that there is a boss ability in which he targets the two healers and does a whirlpool AoE attack to them. Now if you get hit by this, which you will do over and over because you can't really dodge it, it's going to deal 500 to about 1k damage in a small circle around the healers. It's for this reason that you should let the healers have their own spots in which they are in range of both tanks and don't have to move. As you can see on screen, we let them have the center of the room, and it's just a good idea for any ranged DPS to never really be close to them, or specifically never stand on top of them. Shortly after this phase starts, two adds called wave spines will spawn at the edge of the platform. As soon as they spawn up, you should have your off tank who is tanking the tail, switch to them, pick them up, and just have your DPS nuke them down as soon as possible. The adds do have some attacks, such as a frontal cone that does about 1.5k damage, a random paralysis debuff, and also a short cast called Hydro Shot that places a watery circle on the floor. Now to be honest, these two adds have very little HP, and your DPS should be able to burn them down as soon as possible, meaning that you won't have to really deal with any of the attacks. Once the two adds are down, all the DPS should get back onto the head and the tail of the boss, and after a small amount of time you're going to notice that everyone is going to get hit by an attack called Tidal Roar. The attack itself does about 1k damage, and this ability is also your warning that it signifies the next phase of the fight is about to start. Shortly after the Tidal Roar, the boss is going to disappear again. As he does, he's going to spit two circles on the floor that are called Grand Fall. If you do get hit by these, they're going to do about 1.5k damage, but they will also slow any target who gets hit. You have to avoid these circles at all costs, as having a slow for the next ability is pretty much deadly. It's either going to get you knocked off the platform or it's just going to kill you straight out. We are now introduced to the other main dodge ability of the fight that goes alongside the body slam. As you can see, this is what it looks like, and this one is called Spinning Dive. Now if you do get hit by it, it's not only going to knock you back slightly, it's going to apply 1 stack of a damage taken increase buff, but it's also going to do 3.5 to 4k damage. Now the even worse news is that Spinning Dive is going to happen 2 times in a row, and then it's going to be followed by a body slam. So as you can see, the Spinning Dive comes from one direction, it then comes from another direction, and then we're going to have the body slam. Now this chain of mechanics is pretty much the hardest part of the fight, and it's just going to take a little getting used to. If you do want the specifics of where the Spinning Dive can hit and the body slam, then there is a link to an image below in the description which will help you out with those needs. So just as a quick summary, Tidal Wave is going to happen, and that's going to tell you that the Spinning Dives are coming. After that, you're going to have 2 Spinning Dives which are going to be followed by the body slam. This pattern is going to happen throughout the fight until the very end, apart from 2 or 3 locations that I'm going to talk about when we get to them. So after you survive the Spinning Dives and the body slam, the boss's tail and the head will reappear again, and you're going to have a similar phase like the last. However, this time instead of being 2 adds, there is only going to be 1, and this add is called the Wave Tooth. The Wave Tooth will always spawn up at about 80%, and if you have high enough DPS in your group, you can also spawn this add during the Spinning Dives. If this does happen, you just want to wait until the Spinning Dives and the body slam are complete, and then you can focus on dealing with the add. So when this add spawns, it's always going to be on the body side of the platform. As soon as it spawns up, make sure that you get your body tank to pick it up and drag it into the corner where he is tanking the head. As soon as it's in location, get all your DPS to pop all the cooldowns and nuke it down as soon as possible. Now at the same time, you definitely want to have someone to stun lock the add so it does not complete any of its casts. Now the Wave Tooth itself does have a couple of abilities which can make the fight a lot harder if they go off. The first cast is called Dread Wash. If this cast completes, it's going to fear about 50% of your raid for about 10 seconds, which can be problematic later on, seeing as there'll be no sides of the boat and you can just walk off the edge. And the second cast is called Dread Storm. If this one completes, he's going to throw a fear circle on the floor. If you walk into this circle or even get pushed into this circle when you get hit by one of the other boss mechanics, you're going to get a 10-second fear that, due to the size of the platform and limited space, will pretty much run you back through the fear circle so you get feared again, or it will push you off the edge of the platform, which means you die. So basically, as I said, as soon as the add spawns, get the tank who is on the body side to pick up the add and drag it into the corner, pop cooldowns and nuke it down. Make sure that you stun lock it so it doesn't cast any of the abilities, and when it's dead, you head back to the boss's head and the tail. Now at 70%, you're going to see 4 yellow orbs spawn around each corner of the arena and play a similar part to the nails of Ifrit. Basically, these orbs will suck power out of the elemental converter, which is the shield that you're going to need to survive the next phase. Simply, all you have to do is nuke down these orbs as soon as possible. Now in our kill video, what we do is we always start by focusing all our DPS on the one that is nearest the tail, and we work around clockwise killing them all off. When one of them dies, it's going to blow up, dealing about 1k damage to the group, so make sure that the raid is topped off before killing them. Now once you've managed to clear up all 4 of the orbs, you're going to see an emote in the middle of the screen saying that the elemental converter is now operable. This is now the trigger for the next phase. When this happens, you're going to be met with the 2 circle grand falls, which can slow, and then also the Spinning Dive chain of attacks. However, this time, instead of it being 2 Spinning Dives, then a body slam, it's only going to be 1 Spinning Dive. After this Spinning Dive, you need 1 player to click the elemental converter that is located at the south side of the platform. By clicking this machine, you will bring up a red shield that will protect you from the Leviathan's ultimate attack, and it will allow you to continue the fight. I should also mention at this point that you need about 30 out of 100 Elementium conversion to be able to survive this attack, and you can see the amount of Elementium conversion that you have by looking at your duty finder window. Now if you have below this amount, you need to make sure that you push more DPS on the yellow orbs in the previous phase. So now that you survived the ultimate attack, the railings around the edge of the room will now be removed. This in turn will make the fight a lot less forgiving, and you will have a body slam directly after this to resume the fight. So from here on out, the fight is pretty much rinse and repeat. However, there are a couple of things which change round. Previously, the fight started, we then had the 2 wave spines. After they were dead, we would then have to deal with the wave tooth that add with the fear, and then we had the 4 yellow orbs. This time round the order will change, and you'll have the 2 wave spines, followed by the 4 yellow orbs, and then the wave tooth. After this, you will get the 2 wave spines adds again, but by this time the boss should be dead. So the only thing that really changes this time around is the second yellow orb phase. About 30 seconds after the yellow orbs spawn, you'll notice that another set of 4 blue orbs will appear around the edge of the room. Once they spawn up, you'll notice that they move towards the center of the room, and they pretty much do nothing at all. If you hit them, they will be chained to you, and they will apply a damage over time to that player, and they will also follow you. After 30 seconds, these are going to explode, and they're going to do AoE splash damage to anyone nearby. The best way to deal with them is just to not touch them and leave them and let them go to the center. You want to get everyone as far away from the blue orbs as they possibly can be. So for example, if no one hit them, they will be in the center of the room, so it's a good idea to get all the ranged DPS and all the healers to the very edge of the room to take the smallest amount of damage possible from the blue orbs when they explode. So yet again, once you've killed off the 4 yellow orbs, you will get the emote saying that the elemental converter is now operable, and this will trigger the tidal wave, the 1 spinning dive, and then the requirement to click the machine again to bring up the shield. Leviathan will then do his ultimate move once again, followed by a body slam, and then you're back into the first phase. The next ad that will spawn will be the 1 wave tooth ad, which does the fear and the fear circle, so make sure that the body tank picks up this ad, stun locks it and gets it into the corner, and the DPS nukes it down. After this, you should be at about 5% and you just finish the boss off. So guys, thanks a lot for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that this helps you to get through this encounter. If you like this video, then please hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of the content that I have here on Final Fantasy, as I'm going to be throwing up guides for pretty much everything that 2.2 has to offer. If you do have any questions or suggestions about the fight or anything else, then please put them in the comment section below, as I do reply to every single comment that gets posted on my video. So guys, thanks for watching. I will be putting up guides later this week to do with turn 6 and hopefully turn 7, but it depends how far we get on that, and also Extreme Moogle, so make sure you watch out for that, be subscribed, and I'll see you guys next time.